It is. So we've got it live streamed to our entire population. We've got a viewing room in Chicago and Philly, and then we will have it recorded and share that through Monday announcements, along with all the resources that Kevin talks about today.
Hey guys, we're gonna go live in a little bit. People are still coming in, and it's gonna be the Art of Wellness and Crack Not Broken here in a few at CNO Financial. Thank you for having me. Good to go.
I know. They went so badly to have their own
No, not quite.
Too much work.
Not quite.
Hey man, how are you?
I thought y'all was going to Tim. Yeah. Oh, he walked in and I was like, that's just like you. I thought, okay, am I going back in time here or what? Hi Becky, you remember me? Good, how are you?
How you doing, Kelly?
I was wondering if I offended you or something.
I was looking right at the floor, sorry.
It's okay, you probably don't want to sit next to me because I'll be blubbering, so. Oh, you got lost. Let me know if I'm right. Did you know he popped the dishes? Oh my God.
I think it's okay. I think I'm gonna bring it down a little bit.
I was thinking maybe you should attack. I can't help you so far. Yeah. And she's the one that's cut it. Okay, that's all. You know very much. So I did that. Okay. Alright, I'll make sure that it works. Okay. Well, everything that's in the queue, there's a couple things that can be redated. Okay. The rest is, there's a couple of those research, but one does not look right at all. I only see one listed that it terminated, well, we set an option. But even if we take the money that's in suspense and apply it, it gets such a great everybody on this group is great. But every time we apply a payment, a portion of it gets moved to another account, which looks like it's probably just not funded correctly. I don't know, it's weird. So I've got asked Crystal to look at it because the complex was withdrawn in 12. But then where I see like there's 390 everywhere else, that's been reversed. So I don't know what's going on. Tim Clancy's youngest child down there. Yeah, looks just like his oldest. I've not seen any of them. Oh, really? I always ask to see pictures. And a girl boy. Great, your name on it.
that are coming in, please go ahead and silence your phone. And then if you haven't gotten resources, there are resources on a table on this side of the room. So if you came over here, grab those on the way out. Okay, we're gonna get started.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to our mental well-being event here today at CNO. My name is Trisha Borcherding. I'm the VP of Operational Risk and Performance Management. So we all experience events that can challenge us emotionally. And during these times, it's important to know that you are not alone. At CNO, we are working to create a better framework for taking care of our minds. It's important for our associates to know that it's okay not to be okay. And we have resources that can help. There are flyers at each of the entrances with the current programs, and you'll find that we'll continue to add to this list of resources. There are many different conditions that are classified as mental illnesses. Depression, anxiety, ADHD, schizophrenia, substance abuse, and eating disorders, just to name a few. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, emotional health issues are more common than most realize. In any given year, 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. experience mental illness, and 60% of adults with a mental illness don't receive the appropriate treatment. By talking about mental well-being and providing resources, CNO is making a commitment to combat the social stigmas associated with mental illness and hope that we can help increase the number of people who seek treatment. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to our mental well-being advocate, Kevin Hines. In the year 2000, Kevin attempted to take his life by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. Many factors contributed to his miraculous survival, which we'll hear about today. Kevin now travels the world sharing his story of hope, healing, and recovery while teaching people of all ages the art of well-being and the ability to survive pain with true resilience. Over the past 19 years of living, Kevin has been able to accomplish some amazing things. In 2013, he released his best-selling memoir titled Cracked, Not Broken: Surviving and Thriving After a Suicide Attempt. And he recently released his documentary, Suicide: The Ripple Effect. He's spoken in congressional hearings alongside Patrick Kennedy in support of the Mental Health Parity Bill, and continues his policy work as an ambassador to the National Council for Behavioral Health. He was a 2-term member of San Francisco's Mental Health Board. Kevin was awarded by SAMHSA as a Voice Awards Fellow and award winner by the U.S. Veterans Affairs, and received over 30 U.S. Military Excellence Awards as a civilian. Kevin currently sits on the boards of the International Bipolar Foundation, the Bridge Rail Foundation, and the Mental Health Association of San Francisco, and on the Survivors Committee of the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. In 2016, Mental Health America awarded Kevin their highest honor, the Clifford W. Beers Award, for his efforts to improve the lives of and attitudes toward people with mental illnesses. He was also awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award by the National Council of Behavioral Health in partnership with Eli Lilly. To learn more about Kevin and see his videos and blogs, check out kevinhinesstory.com. Kevin's will to live and stay mentally well has inspired people worldwide. His compelling story has reached millions and has touched diverse global audiences. Kevin believes in the power of the human spirit and in the fact that you can find the ability to live mentally well. Take a look at this short trailer from Suicide: The Ripple Effect.
Are you okay? Is something wrong? Or can I help you? Those were the words that I desperately wanted to hear right before I catapulted myself over the rail. I have now lived 15 years past the day I should have died.
When you see a lot of mental illness being expressed, that's a clue that the culture is sick, not the person.
Hey, brother. Hello, Kevin. You were the first person to ever say, you know, Kevin, you should talk about this.
Our guest, Kevin Hines, plummeted 200 feet but survived.
Today, I travel the globe spreading a message of hope. Why? Because we know it helps people heal.
There's a huge opportunity as we talk about stories of survival to support people who are out there who are in pain.
I break down on a regular basis. I have symptoms every day. I still have hallucinations, both auditory and visual.
Families of those who jumped from the iconic structure urged to stop the suicides.
One person goes to this bridge to die every 7 to 10 days. I think it's our obligation to stop them.
You go to Paris, go to New York, you go to Istanbul, there are suicide areas. The more people that know about the horror of that bridge, the more pressure will be put to do something to stop it.
Will this really decrease suicides, you think? They say things like, why ruin the aesthetics? What are the aesthetics compared to one human life?
Kevin Hines, there's no telling how many lives were saved by you because you weren't able to take your own.
Let's get to that place that nobody is being brave who talks about their brain disease. They're just being honest.
My name is Kevin Hines, and this is my story. Cheers. Are you? First of all, CNO, thank you all for coming out and filling these seats. I greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate your time because I know it's worth a lot. So before I begin to share with you my story, there is something we must do right here, right now, and together. We must take a moment of silence for all of those that we have lost to death by suicide from lethal emotional pain. In my short 37 years on this planet, I've lost 8 people I love to that pain. Not the least of which was my biological mother, Marcia, may she rest in peace. And the most recent of which was a man I called a brother, a man I considered family. His name was Jeremy Richmond. He lost his wife and he lost his daughter, his 6-year-old daughter at Sandy Hook. And during the recent Parkland incidents, he would take his life. On the very stage, he had me speak upon him with him last year. But my new friends at CNO, today is not about the way they died or the day they died. No, today is about how they lived before they ever got sick in the first place. The beauty that they were when they were still here, the light that exuded from within them when they were with you. Let us choose to hold immeasurable gratitude for the very little time we had with them. Let us honor their memories. I celebrate the lives of those 8 I lost with people that love them just as much as I do, because the only way to properly grieve a suicide is together, without blame and with no guilt. It doesn't belong to you. They didn't die because of you or in spite of you. They died because of that unrelenting, lethal, and epic emotional pain that had nothing to do with you. Let us honor their memory, and I do it on their birthday because we're only allowed on that day to speak upon the good times. The last smile we saw on their face, the last warm embrace they gave us the last time we heard them laugh. And I celebrate the lives of those 8 I lost. And I do it with gluten-free cake and a candle, because that's how I roll. Let us honor their memory right here, right now, together. Let us hold this moment of silence for all of those that we have lost this way. You heard my words in the video. Are you okay? Is something wrong, or can I help you? Had anyone said one or all of those things or a variation of the three, I would have told them everything and begged them to save me. I just wanted someone to see me and see my pain. I couldn't speak on it myself. I needed someone to reach in. I could not reach out, like so many across this country and around the globe who die this way. You see, I've been diagnosed at 17 and a half years of age with bipolar disorder type 1 with psychotic features, which is a mouthful for anybody, let alone a 17-year-old. And I didn't want to have this disease. Who does? I didn't want to be labeled mentally ill. I didn't want people to judge me upon hearing of my diagnosis, but they would. I didn't want to look and feel as flawed as I thought I must be. My biological mom and dad, I would later find out as I'm adopted, both had the very same brain disease I did, when they called it manic depression in their day. And they coped with hardcore drugs and alcohol. And those drugs and alcohol and mental illness would kill them both in tragic ways. My mom would be years sober, go back on drugs, and walk in from a tow truck. I would never get to meet the woman that made me. My father, Martino, he would accost an undercover police officer at one point during his life as a petty criminal, and he would be killed. Never got to meet them and tell them I love them. That's all I ever wanted. And growing up, I got lucky, unlike my own brother, my only full-blooded brother, Jordash, and I were bouncing around from home to home in foster care when they pulled us out of a terrible situation with our parents. Bouncing around from home to home, and we both got bronchitis, and he also died. I, at a very young infant age, developed severe detachment disorder from reality and abandonment issues that follow me until today. Every time someone I love dies, I feel like they're leaving me on purpose. And I can't shake it no matter how much therapy I do. And I do a lot of therapy. But that's my burden. From 17 to 19 years of age, after I've been adopted by Pat and Debbie Hines into a beautiful family, 3 kids, 3 separate families. We didn't look like, people noticed, and they were confused. All right, me, I'm mixed. You can think of me as everything but Russian. Let's go with that. Or as our president would say, nope, that will offend some of you. And, I was mixed, all right, everything but Russian. My brother's black, my sister's white. People who stared at us were perplexed. And this is what some women would do when they saw us as children walking next to my mom. Debbie and Pat Hines, Irish and German, and me, mixed, brother black in the middle, my sister white next to her, and women would cross the street. They do a semicircle around us like some kind of lion. They lean in like this and they do one of these. They lean in close and they say, "Excuse me, miss, how did all of that happen?" And that's when my mom very quickly replied, "Oh, different fathers." It's true. Yes, we all had different fathers, but they didn't know why, and they ran right back across the street. We didn't care that some people wouldn't allow us in the restaurant in the 1980s to eat because of what we looked like as a family. We were happy. We were filled with unconditional love, which what Pat and Debbie provided us our first glimpse of hope. All of our biological parents would be on drugs, but all of our biological parents would be first dealing with mental and brain pain. They coped with those drugs. And it would affect all of us for the rest of our lives. Me and my brother and sister would each be the inside of psych wards 3 times before we were all 30 years of age. Even though we were given unconditional love by our family and extended family, at some point in time, our brains would break. We would find ourselves in a destitute situation. For me, at 19, I could not bear the weight and the brunt of the depression any longer. Because once you go up through skyrocketing manic episodes, you must come. And I'd come crashing down every week into a dark abyss of depression. My parents were married for 25 years, which I thought was marital bliss. Apparently it was not. They divorced right around the time my diagnosis came in. Of course I thought it was my fault. It wasn't. I didn't know that back then. And after a few fights with my mom, the most optimistic woman in the world, you know, the kind of optimism as a kid that's annoying. Oh, it's not that great of a day, stop smiling and calm down kind of optimism, you know? You know, when I was a little kid, something would go south and she would just say, oh, honey, oh, well. You know, she'd do this and it makes sense because she has hair, you know? And, you know, you come home a few years later from like Little League Baseball and you're the 4th round cleanup hitter and you know what that means, right? If you're any Little League Baseball players in the day, there we go. Just 2 of you, what are the rest of you doing with your time? So Little League Baseball player I was the 4th round cleanup hitter, bases are loaded, it's my job to bring home the grand slam and the win. We lose, who do they blame? You. Yes, of course they blame me. I come home crying, Kevin Hines, this is her response. Oh, honey. Que sera, sera. Which if you don't know is a Spanish song, it means what will be, will be. She would sing every lyric to the entire song every time there was a problem. It was so bananas. But thank you, Mom, for the optimism, you know. It rubbed off, certainly it did. And that was her way, infinite optimism no matter the situation, but eventually, right around my 18th birthday, before I went to live with my father, she would lose her optimism for me. I punched too many holes in too many drywalls in her house. She removed the door to my room. Actually, she had me remove the door to my room, so I couldn't slam it anymore. And then on my 18th birthday, right around my 18th birthday, she said, Kevin, you get 169 days to get out of the house. All right, Mom. 149 days till Kevin, you're out of the house. Okay, I get it, Mom. Kevin, now, Mom, I know when my birthday is. I get it, 18th birthday, I'm gone. And true to her word, 18th birthday rolled around. Kick rocks, Kevin, call your father. My father was there, and he picked me up, my clothes on the porch in the rain. But see, my father was not an optimist. He's a pragmatic, pessimistic, stone-faced man. A man void of true emotion most of my life, a man I never quite understood why he was always such a tough SOB. You see, his father was in the Battle of Okinawa. If you know what that means, he was in the real dirt. And his father and mother, Vicky and Judy, had substance use disorders just like my biological parents, in the form of primary alcoholism. They would die of liver failure, cirrhosis at very young ages. Liver failure, cirrhosis plaguing our nation along with the opioid crisis and suicide today. And when my father's father would come home from drinking, which was every night, he would persist to hit my father in the face with his fist. That was his life. And he loved his dad, even so. And I finally found out in my 3rd psych ward stay of 7 why my father was such a hardened soul. Why he was the way he was. Why he was so angry. He was a yeller, never once hit me, but he was a yeller. And we would, you know, living with him was a nightmare. We'd just fight every day, tooth and nail, screaming matches, almost came to blows a couple of times, but he stopped himself. He didn't want to be like his dad. And even though he was a yeller, he's still the greatest dad I could have ever had. And Debbie Hines was the greatest mom a kid could ever have, even though she let go of me. She had to, for her own well-being, for her other son and her other daughter. My father and I would fight every day, screaming matches that filled the house. Police should have been called. And at 19, I could not take it anymore. Not his yelling. That part was separate from what I was going on in my head. I was having auditory and visual hallucinations every day. Every single day, I'd see Death himself hovering through my window, his staff and blade, his scythe in his right bony arm. He'd reach out his other bony hand, turn it upside down. His eyes would like to fire in his skull face as he would say, come home with me, night after night, Monday through Monday. Do you think I told anybody? No. Do you think I told anybody that the first time I ever actually heard voices was in 4th grade? No. Because how does a 4th grade child tell mom and dad he hears voices in his head, not that of his conscience, that he doesn't quite understand, but that hate him? He doesn't. He buries it, and he silences his pain. The voices would go away. They would return at 17. At 19, they were overwhelming. And when I went to that bridge, when I made plans to go to that bridge, those voices would win the day. On September 24th of the year 2000, the weight and the brain pain was too much to bear. My shoulders were weakening, my knees were buckling. I sat in my room at my desk and I wrote that note. That note that only 20% of people who actually die by suicide truly write. I wrote that note to my mom and my dad and my brother and my sister and my best friend Jake Lewis and my girlfriend / ex-girlfriend. It was debatable depending on who you asked. I said to my mom, I love you, but you're not always right. Dad, I love you, but stop bringing the office home. This isn't work. I said to my little brother Joseph, I said he wanted to be a DJ. He was making those mixed cassette tapes when they were still hot. You guys remember those? Who still plays mixed cassette tapes? Come on, one person, two people. Come on, guys, it's not dead yet. Give them all a tape deck. Anyway, and he was good at it, too. He was really good at it. I said, be a household name. I said to my sister, you want to make films? You got this, go get it. I said to my girlfriend / ex-girlfriend, it's not you, it's me. Which, guys, don't say that. It's always us. And I said to my best friend, Jake Lewis, arguably the worst part of the entire note, you'll find another best friend. As if that is remotely how it works. I put that note in my shoulder bag. I put that shoulder bag by the door. At 6 in the morning, I entered my father Patrick's room. He lay there sleeping, wearing his CPAP machine. Who knows about those CPAP machines? None of you can bring. He's wearing that CPAP machine. He sounds like Darth Vader snoring. Not this new CGI nonsense. 1977 Darth Vader, real stuff, the good stuff. And he sounds like Darth Vader snoring. And I startled him awake. And he looked at me. He said, "Kevin, what's wrong?" Now I wanted to tell him. I wanted to tell the one man who loved me the most in the entire world the truth. Did I? No. I buried it and I silenced my pain. The voices were too powerful. They were too loud. Imagine if you can't comprehend what hearing auditory or seeing visual hallucinations is like. For certainly auditory, you put your earbuds on your head or your earphones and imagine instead of music that you like, you hear a voice you've never recognized as anyone you know or love telling you things you have to do that you don't want to, telling you have to die by your hands, that it is inevitable, that you have no choice, you are useless and worthless and you have no value. That's what it told me every day. My self-loathing was next level. And the voices would win the day. I said, nothing's wrong, Dad. I just wanted to tell you that I love you. In my mind, it was for the very last time. He said, well, Kev, I love you too. But it's 6 in the morning, and I'm not going to be working until 9 and go back to bed. He put his mask back on. He fell soundly asleep as quickly as he had awoken. He was good at that. It was a talent of his. And I walked around the other side of the bed. I sat in a cross-legged position on the floor, and I rocked myself back and forth in tears, begging myself to tell that man the truth. But the voices told me to be quiet. And so I did. I wish I knew back then what I know today, that suicidal ideation, suicidal thinking and patterns, depression, mental illness, eating disorders, anxiety are the greatest liars we know. We don't have to listen to them, no matter how much they demand us to. I didn't know that back then. I didn't know back then, before I went to that bridge and nearly died, that my thoughts did not have to become my actions. Think about that for a minute. My thoughts do not have to become my actions. Say it with me, my friend. I'll say it, you repeat after me. My thoughts.
My thoughts.
Now I need to hear all of you. This is a test. My thoughts.
My thoughts.
Do not have to become my actions.
My actions.
If all of your thoughts became your actions, how many of you in the world are trouble for a whole host of things? Matter of fact, let's be more specific. If all of your thoughts became your actions, how many of you would be in jail right now for road rage? There we go, there it is. If we can recognize in suicidal crisis, my friends, that our thoughts do not have to own, rule, or define our next action, guess what? We can always stay here. We can always be here tomorrow and every day after that, no matter the pain we're in. But I didn't know that back then. I believed because the voices told me that I had to do it. I went to my room at 6:30. My father entered the room at 7 a.m. He pleaded with me to be with him that day. He tried as hard as he could for me to be with him that day. I denied him 3 times. Finally, he said to me, Kevin, I'll tell you what, you seem like you calmed down because I made myself. I took the welling water in my eyes and I shoved it back down inside. I took my affect and made it simple and plain. I was good at it. How many of you, by a bold raise of hands, have ever silenced their pain? How many of you have ever silenced your pain? There it is, the truth. Yeah. And I said, that sounds good, Dad. You take me to City College. I'll take the bus home. I'll see you home at 6 tonight, knowing full well That's where I was going and what I was going to do, and that I wasn't coming home. My poor father had no clue. We get to the City College campus. My father says to me one of his mantras. He said it every single day. He calls me to say it today. We're lucky that he can. Kevin, I love you. Be careful. I kissed my father on the cheek as I had done since I was about yay high. I told him I loved him. I stepped out of the car with my right foot, and I stood. A tear rolled down my cheek, off my chin, onto my right lug's boot, onto the middle shoelace. I'll never forget that moment as long as I shall live. As I stand here before you today, I can close my eyes right now, see my father driving away in his old car, and saying to myself, that's the last time I'll ever see anybody I love, and the very last time anybody I love will ever see me, and being completely content to die by these two hands from lethal emotional pain. I wiped the water from my face that was falling. I walked on to the City College campus. I walked into the counselor's department. I went into the most readily available counselor. I asked her to drop me 9.5 of my 12.5 scholastic units at the college without batting an eye, without asking one question. Not when, who, why, what, when, or how, Kevin, are you dropping these courses? Nothing. They were dropped. And so too immediately was my medical coverage for my wellness program. And you know I lived. And I did that. You know I had extensive injuries that someone had to pay for when they repaired my back with titanium. That someone was Patrick Kevin Hines. The whole bill. In one day, by one action. My action. My father's 40-year career in finance was destroyed, and he was nearly bankrupted. Don't worry, I plan on paying him back. It'll take them about 112. I'll need your financial group to help me. I got, after I went into my final remaining class, my only remaining class, English, people have asked me, why, Kevin? Why did you go to English class when you dropped all of your other courses? It's very simple. It's rudimentary, really. It's not because I was going to become some literary master. Yes, I wrote a best-selling book. It's still a bestseller. Big deal. There are 36 errors in the opening acknowledgments alone. Okay? Let's just start there. Right? I don't even know how that happened. I'm going to blame it on the editor. Okay. So, no, it wasn't because of that. I went to English class because the teacher was gorgeous. I was here one last time. It was the only rational thing I did all day. And so I left that class early. I got on a meeting train. I got a transfer to get on the next bus. I sat in the very back row in the middle seat looking out upon everyone, hoping, wishing, and praying that one person would see my pain and say something kind. But the only human being to react aloud was this guy to my left, who said to the fella next to him, while pointing me with his thumb with a smile on his face, what the hell's wrong with that kid? And that, my new friends, is what's wrong with some of our society today. Our innate human ability to see somebody, anybody, in the greatest lethal emotional pain they've ever experienced and feel nothing for them but fear of them and apathy toward them. That's his or her problem, but it ain't mine. I got things to do, people to see, and places to go. I formidably and firmly disagree with this way of thinking. I believe, my new friends, that if we are nothing else on this beautiful planet, we are supposed to be one thing together. Our brothers and sisters and individuals keepers. Do you agree?
Yes.
We are not here for personal betterment or gain. We are here to give back to those we know, those we love, those we don't know from Adam, and yes, those we don't even like. What we are not here to do is ever hurt each other with our words or actions. But I didn't know that back then. I was in a tunnel vision of darkness, and I thought I had to die because the voices told me to. The bus got to the Golden Gate Bridge parking lot, 100 people deboarded right there. I sat there alone crying like a child. They got off that bus with their fanny packs that were multi-zippered and colored from 1982. And their foreign accents from all over the world to see the ninth wonder of it, the Golden Gate. And their cameras that your kids wouldn't understand because they weren't phones. And I sat there alone, with a desperate prayer that that driver would say something kind. He stood and he said, "Come on, kid, get off the bus, I gotta go." Not quite what I was looking for. I walked up to that man, looked him right in his eyes, his water poured from mine, and he motioned for me to get off the bus. I stepped down those 2 steps that felt like 2,000. I walked across the Golden Gate Bridge walkway, pacing back and forth for 40 minutes, crying like a baby. Bikers, joggers, tourists, runners, police officers all went by me twice. To be fair, those officers now save 102 to 152 lives a year. That's a beautiful thing. Now they're trained in suicide prevention. That's one. Yes, keep it up. But they weren't trained when I was there. They had no idea what to do with me. And they let me stand there alone, to no fault of theirs. I stood at a particular light rail. I leaned my body over the light rail. I cried my tears to water's flow, and that's when it happened. A woman from my left approached me with a smile on her face. Blonde, curly hair, beautiful woman, tall, and she was wearing those sunglasses you ladies love to wear in the heat that absolutely do not fit your face. You look like giant human bugs. Something to consider for next time. Hashtag amongst human bugs. And so she approached smiling. I thought, this is it. This lady's going to save me. I don't have to die today. And then she pulled out a digital camera and she said, "Will you take my picture?" I had to laugh inside, like, lady, it's terrible timing. But I took her camera, she stood in front of me, and she posed 5 times for 5 different pictures. It took about 5 minutes. She was really setting herself up. And Instagram didn't exist. What was she doing? Anyway, that was a good joke. It's okay. I know it's an awkward joke. It's still a good one. Right. So she poses 5 times. She says thank you, grabs her camera, and she walks away. But not 20 yards off the bridge. She walks back across the entire 2-mile stretch of walkway. Because that's what people did. They spent 90 to 120 minutes in awe of its beauty. Except people like me. When she walked away, I said to myself, absolutely nobody cares. Is that true?
No.
Everybody cared. Every member of my family, every one of my friends, my acquaintances would have been there to rip me from that rail to safety because of how much they cared. I believe a lot of you, if you were on that bridge on that day, because you're here right now, you would have been there to try to help me. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. But my brain was trying to kill me as I desperately tried to cling to life. And when she walked away, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Nobody cares. Then the voice in my head bellowed at decimals I cannot express to you without piercing eardrums. Jump now, and I did. I catapulted my hands off the rail. But the millisecond my legs cleared it, it was an instant regret for my actions. And the 100% recognition that I just made the greatest mistake of my life, it was too late. For 99% of the individuals who die off that bridge, it's too late. It's 99% fatal, that attempt. 39 individuals in the last 82 years have survived that fall. 39 people in 80 years. I would become on that day number 26. But I am only one of 5 to be given the privilege to ever regain their full physical mobility, to be able to stand, walk, and run. They call us the most exclusive survivors club in the world. There's a book of the same name by Ben Sherwood. My new friends, I'm making a point. I get to be here. And if I get to be here, I've got to travel the world most days trying to help one person in every audience do the very same, if not more. You see, my friends, if it's 1 in 5, which now it's actually 1 in 4, live with a diagnosed mental illness in America. 1 in 4. How many of us are in this room? Seats are filled. Every 1 of 4. That means that a lot of you are sitting there in pain. Be bold with me, my friends. Be really bold. The last group did. If you are in pain right now and you have been silencing it, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, all of the above, do me a solid. As I'm in pain, as I stand here, chronic back pain from what I did And that is on me. It's my responsibility to take care of that. But God dang it hurts. Every single day. If you're in pain right now of any kind, be bold with me right now and please stand. Okay, my new friends. Look into my brown eyes. I want to see you. All of you. You are beautiful just as you are. You are perfect right now. You are 1,000 times greater than the worst thing you've ever done, and you deserve this life until your natural end. I'm glad you're here. And if nobody else says it today, I love you, and I want you to fight the pain and stay here. If everyone else who is not standing would now stand with them. You see, now we're really together. Now we're really here together, and we're here for the ones who stood first in pain. If you need their help, those of you who stood first, you will have it. If you need CNO's help, you will have it. If you need my help, you will have it. I'm easily reachable. I want you guys to all fight your demons and your pain. I want you to all be here tomorrow and every day after that. And after today, I want you to go call 3 people you haven't talked to in a long time because of how they wronged you. And I want you to forgive them and open that door because they might be in pain too. And I want you to consider that you never know what anybody else has going on behind closed doors. So always be kind, compassionate, loving, caring, empathetic, and non-judgmental to every person you come across at CNO and every person outside. Because you never know what they're going through at home. People behave the way they do because of what they have learned. No one has been born filled with hatred for another person. No one has been born to hurt another person, yet we see it all over the world. Let us, in this community, change the narrative and shift the paradigm of your existence to make sure that you're kind, compassionate, loving, caring, empathetic, and non-judgmental to everybody, no matter what. That's what Debbie Hines taught me. The most optimistic woman in the world taught me to be good to everyone, no matter their background, what they look like, their ethnic makeup, their socioeconomic individual background, their religious affiliation or none, their political affiliation or none, their gender, their sexual preference, none of it matters. We all bleed the same blood when it comes out of our bodies. When it's inside, it's deoxygenated and it's blue. When it comes out, it's red. We all go 6 feet under when we die. But you know what? You never have to hasten that approach. You never have to die by your hands. We're all mortals. We're going to get there. You know? We're going to get there. Let us get there having known we tried to make things change. Let us get there knowing we did the hard work to balance our brain, mind, and behavior health. Let us get there knowing we were kind to everyone that came across our path. All right, please be seated again. My new friends. You are my friends, right?
Yep.
Yes.
That wasn't good. My new friends, you are my friends, right?
Yes.
Yes, you are, CNO. Yes, you are. Now, what I want you to comprehend is that it was a long journey to get to be standing in front of you right here. It didn't happen overnight. No, I jumped off that bridge. I fell 220 feet, 25 stories at 75 miles an hour in 4 seconds. In those 4 seconds, these were the words that rang true in my mind. What have I just done? I don't want to die. God, please save me. And then I hit the water. I hit that water, and hitting that water from that height at that speed is like hitting a solid brick wall. You stop for less than a second. The impact reverberated through my legs and shattered my T12, L1, L2 lower vertebrae into shards like glass. I missed severing my spinal cord that day, my new friends, by 2 millimeters. Show me right now, 100% of you, show me right now a millimeter with your hands. Show me. Remember, I can see you. I was 70 feet beneath the water's surface, and I opened my eyes. I was alive, and I was drowning, and I didn't want to drown. Why'd you jump into a giant body of water? Irrational thought, illogical thought lead to suicidal ideation, not rational, logical thought. I'm 70 feet beneath the water's surface. I don't know which way is up or down. I start going down further. Murkier water, My eyes begin to bulge, my ears begin to ring. I know my mistake. I shoot for the opposite direction. I cannot feel my legs. I don't know if I'm using them or not. I just can't feel them. I swim to the surface thinking I'm only using my arms. As fast as my arms will take me was the fastest I ever swam in my life, because all I wanted to do was live. I got closer and closer to a lit circle of water above me, and I thought, I'm not going to make it. This is it. This is where I go. And I said to myself, Kevin, you can't die here. If you die here, Kevin, no one will ever know you didn't want to. No one will ever know you knew you made a mistake. I broke the surface. I bobbed up and down the water. I did the one thing I've had control over since kindergarten. I prayed. God, please save me. I don't want to die. I made a mistake on repeat. God, please save me. I don't want to die. I made a mistake. He heard me. 3 miracles occurred that day. A woman driving by in a red car saw me go over the rail at the moment of my attempt and called her friend in the United States Coast Guard, tied to the very unit that would pick me out of the water that day. The only reason the Coast Guard boat arrived to my position in the water 3 minutes before I'd set in hypothermia and drowned was because of that woman making that phone call. In the water, as I flailed to stay afloat before the Coast Guard boat arrived, something began to circle beneath me. I kept going down. I couldn't stay above water. I go down one more time. I don't think I'm going to make it. I think this is it. And then something begins to circle beneath me, faster and faster, faster and faster. I'm thinking to myself, you've got to be kidding me. I didn't die off the Golden Gate Bridge and the shark is going to eat me. No. I start punching this thing. It won't go away. But it doesn't go away. It doesn't bite me. Faster and faster it circles. No longer am I wading in the water or trying to regain myself to the surface. I'm lying atop it on my back, being kept afloat by this creature, thinking to myself, this is one hell of a nice shark. What would you do in that situation? I'll tell you what I did. I named him Herbert, and he turned out it wasn't a shark at all. I would go on a primetime live show with John Quinones. He does that show, What Would You Do? I'd go on his show. I'd say on the show, I thought there was a shark beneath me in the water, promoting a suicide prevention campaign in San Francisco. And people write into the show from all over the world. When it went online, before viral was cool. And one person's letter stuck out above all the rest. His name was Morgan McWard. He was from Las Vegas, Nevada. He was on the bridge that day with his mother. And he wrote to me and he said, Kevin, I'm so very glad you're alive. I was standing less than 2 feet away from you when you jumped. Until this day, Kevin, no one would tell me whether you lived or died. It has haunted me until right now, watching this show. By the way, Kevin, there was no shark like you mentioned on the show, but there absolutely was a sea lion. And the people above looking down believed it to be keeping your body afloat until the Coast Guard boat arrived behind you. Now, my new friends, you call that what you want. That's my miracle, and I believe it. The Coast Guard boat picked me up. They put me in a neck brace, they strapped me in from head to toe, they started asking questions. Kid, do you know what you just did? Yeah. And they said, why? And I had no valid answer. I don't know. I thought I had to die today. A senior officer moved in forward and he said, son, do you understand how many people we pull out of these waters that are already gone? I said, no, sir, and I don't want to know. He said, I'm going to tell you anyway. He said, this unit alone has pulled out 57 dead bodies from these waters and 1 live one. I'm pretty sure they call that perspective, don't they? They got me to the ambulance. Ambulance gets me to the hospital. The third piece of the miracle occurs. I'm entering the emergency ward as one of the foremost back surgeons on the West Coast was leaving for the day to be somewhere else, to do something else. He opted to stay with his team, performing a 10.5-hour back surgery on me that is the first and only of its particular kind. It's in a medical journal. He never did it before, he never did it again. And it saved me the ability to stand, walk, run, and do this. I shouldn't have done that, that hurt. You know, it baffles me sometimes to wonder why 99% of the people that did the same thing I did not get to live. It makes me sad every time I think about it, but certainly baffles me. People have asked me all over the world in different languages if I felt I found my purpose. One of them. I'm not delusional enough to think this is my only purpose. Part of my purpose is to be a good husband to my wife, Margaret. Part of my purpose was to be a great father to my dog, Max. He was a Shar-Pei, looked just like my dad. That was part of my purpose, And absolutely part of my purpose is to be standing before you today, giving you this message of hope in the wish that it helps just one person in this room see the light at the end of their tunnel and not the tunnel vision between it. You all deserve this life into your natural end. I want you to think for a minute about all the children who never make it past the womb. My wife, Margaret, and I know that pain too. Jack Ryan lived 8 weeks and no more. But he wasn't intended to be here in physical form. You all are, because I'm looking at you. It wasn't an easy road after this jump. 7 psych ward stays in the next 11 years for suicidal crisis. 26 treatments of electroconvulsive therapy in the 11th psych ward stay. 12 is the max. 1 psych ward stay 16 weeks ago. But I'm here before you because I get to be here. And suicide will never be my solution. No matter how much I think about it, no matter how much suicidal thoughts plague me, I'll never die that way. I'm going to live to 112 like I told you before. Lying next to my wife in a hospital setting, holding her hand, and drifting off into the abyss like in the film The Notebook I ever saw twice or It was really my 3rd psych ward stay that everything changed. Yes, I was in 6 more, but I walked myself in those psych ward stays with someone who loved me, someone who empathized with my pain, mostly my wife. I walked in there and I said, I need to be here or I won't be here. Self-awareness with suicidal ideation is possible with hard work. That hard work that Pat Hines loves so much, And, I want to talk to you a bit about that pain we talked about earlier, okay? About almost a year and a half ago now, I developed secondary burns from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head. Bloody blisters all over my entire body. Felt like needles and knives were coming through my bones, to my skin, across my entire body, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 30 weeks. Excruciating pain, so painful you can't walk. Pain so great you just start crying in the middle of a scene in front of a bunch of people you love or people you don't even know. Pain so powerful it buckles your knees and collapses you to the floor. That kind of pain. Now, I didn't want to die when I jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. I believed I had to. But during this skin pain, you bet I wanted to die. I wanted it to stop. I wanted to buckle. I wanted to fold. I wanted to give in. Did I? No. No. I fought the pain. In spite of the pain, to thrive right here, right now, today with you. If we can recognize gratitude for the pain, and if we can never let the pain defeat us, but we can let it build us, we can always survive the pain. Now, I want to do something with you. Very important thing to round this out. I want to ask you a question first. By a raise of hands, how many of you, listen to the question very carefully, by a raise of hands, how many of you have never, ever, ever had an inner critical thought? Exactly. Not one. And that's what I figured, okay? Not one of you have never had an inner critical thought or voice in your head telling you you are less than, you are not worthy, you are not valued, you have no purpose, you're not important, you're this too much, this too little, that. No. We all have that inner critical voice. We all at some point in our lives have self-loathe, whether for a minor amount of time or a lot of time. Every time I get self-loathing in front of my mirror in my room with my father in the very next room, I would whisper hateful things to myself when I was so sick mentally. The one thing that retrains the negative inner critical voice is positive affirmation. If you can immediately remove the inner critical voice and say the opposite of what it says right upon the first time you say the inner critical thought, you can reverse it over time. So we're going to do a little practice. We're going to do a little session. I'm going to say my name. You say your name, then repeat after me. My name, your name, repeat after me. Now listen, there's always a girl here that says her name's Kevin. That's fine. In 2020, if your name's Kevin, young lady, that's great. Good for you. Your parents are progressive. I love it. But say your name, okay? All right, here we go. Kevin.
Yes.
You are.
You are.
Come on, I need to hear you. Kevin.
Yes.
You are.
You are.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Kevin.
Yes.
You're getting confused. Your name. Kevin. You are.
You are.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Kevin.
Kevin.
You are.
You are.
Gifted.
Gifted.
Kevin.
Kevin.
You are.
You are.
Dang it.
Dang it.
A walking.
A walking.
Phenom.
Phenom.
And finally, Kevin.
Ronnie.
You are.
You are.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Well, thank you. You see, there we go. Come on. Every single time you say something spiteful to yourself, reverse it immediately and watch how your mood changes over a 6-month period. It'll be magical, right? And teach this to your children. Our children are filled with too much of those devices. I don't even know where mine is. See, that's a good thing. Oh, it's right there. So, we are filled too much of our lives. We're filling too much of our lives with those devices. They're wasting a lot of our time that we should be with our families, having real conversations, like the one I'm having with you right now. I mean, I know it's one-sided right now. We'll get to it. But seriously, our children are being raised by iPads and iPhones, and some of them, sadly, Androids. And if we can help our children see that we don't need to be on our devices when they're in the room. Parents, we don't need to be on our devices when they're in the room. We need to be paying attention to what is on theirs. There's some of it out there that they can reach in an instant. It ain't good. It's damaging their brains. You know, and look, there are great things that social media can do. But I actually hope to live in a world someday, we go, hey, you remember that thing, social media? Remember that thing we don't do anymore? Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. I don't miss it. Don't miss it at all. I actually had this 2-hour conversation with my dad that we really needed to have for like 20 years the other day. Wasn't that great, you know? And I was honest in therapy for the first time. That was a good deal. That would work, right? Right? So I hope that's the outcome someday, that we just put it all away and we focus on what's really important. Human-to-human contact. All right, so if you go home today and you see the child you love so much, but you haven't said I love you in a while, do it today. Go home today and you see the child that comes home with the C or the D, manage your expectations and realize, you know, that's not the rest of their lives. Go home today and instead of getting mad at that C or D grade they got, say, hey, you know, Jane or Jim, what was something that you achieved today that you were proud of? And then tell them that you're proud of it too, right? That's what we need to be doing more in this lifetime. I went to the Golden Gate Bridge for a lot of reasons internally, all right? A lot of reasons. But the main reason was that I believed that I had no value. You must show your children that they have value every single day. Every moment they're next to you, show them they have value. Teach them of their worth, and damn it, teach them how to be resilient in the face of pain. Because that's what's killing them. They have no gratitude for what they're going through, what they've been through, and what you've been through to give them what they have. And they have no resilience because we live in a world lacking it. So from the ground up, teach them that they can let it defeat them or they can let it build them. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why we call it the present. And if y'all don't believe me, ask your kids. Master Oogway from Kung Fu Panda said that. Choppy Turtles always know what's up. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is our gift. Let us always and forever cherish this day and every waking moment of this gorgeous gift we all get to call life. From the bottom of my heart, from my gut. Thank you very much. we stop is I need you, if you're physically capable right now, to please stand. If you're capable, please stand. If you're not, we're with you, we got you too. Okay, now, what we're gonna do right here, right now, it's crucial. It's gonna end this presentation. It's the most important part of it. If you have your mobile devices in your pocket, take them out and press record right now. Don't sleep on me. You're not gonna wanna miss this, I promise. All right? Go live on some feed or just press record and share with people you love. All right? This is for all the people in this room that stood in pain. This is for all the people at home that are in pain. This is for everyone you love. On my 3 count, we are going to say at the tops of our lungs what it says right on this shirt. Be here tomorrow. On my 3 count. Loud and proud, like those people in pain's lives depend on it. 1, 2, 3.
Be here tomorrow.
All right, that was all right. We need to be loud and louder, like their lives depend on it. 1, 2, 3.
Be here tomorrow.
All right, we gotta be like our old teenage selves that can yell a lot louder than that. We gotta yell louder than the U.S. Marines and the Army soldiers that did it a few weeks ago, and there were 4,000 of them, louder than Marines and soldiers. 1, 2, 3.
Be here tomorrow.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen, family and new friends. Be here tomorrow. Every single day after that, you are worthy, you are valued, you matter, you are important to all of us in this room and everybody in the world that recognizes it, and you are supposed to be here until your natural end. Suicide can never be the solution to your problem, my new friends. It is the problem. Be here tomorrow, every gosh darn day after that. Thank you very much. I don't come and give a bunch of rhetoric and leave you with nothing. I'm going to leave with Kemi. Two resource links. One to my website, kevinhinesstory.com/resources. There are 3 resources on that site that you need. One is a Parents and Teachers Guide to Suicide Prevention, written by some of the best in the field in suicidology, and my wife. Exactly. And one of them is the Art of Wellness 10-Step Guide to Living Brain, Mind, Behaviorally, and Mentally Well. I utilize it. It's what I taught myself and created myself with one of the foremost suicidologists in the field, Dr. Daniel J. Reidenberg. We wrote it together. He edited it. It was wonderful. It doesn't have any errors. And it is a PowerPoint that is trainable by you to your peers or your loved ones or even clinicians at school or workers in school level. And also, there is a guide to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Kevin Hines. And this YouTube channel has 320 videos, all brain, mind, behavioral health help to help your children, your loved ones, and you better balance your mind health and your brain health and your behavioral health. And those videos are entertaining, they're educational, they're humorous, but they're meant to help people in pain. The playlist in those videos most of it is trainable. These are real-time, science-based, evidence-informed tools for better brain health for you and your loved ones. And there's the Art of Wellness in video form there, more easily digestible in 3 to 5 minute video format. But all of those videos on the playlist, you're able to use them in the trainings you do for people's mental health and brain health. And if you are in crisis or you know someone who is, you can text CNQR to 741-741, courage to talk about your mental health, normalize the conversation, ask the question to someone suicidal, are you suicidal and do you have a plan? It does not put the thought in their mind. That's a myth. It actually gives people permission to talk about their pain. R is for recovery, living proof. To 74171, that's the crisis text line. That's our conquer keyword. It stands for conquer your pain. And that keyword has been responsible for over 450 active rescues. Lives saved by that keyword. If you prefer a phone call, 1-800-273-8255 is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, +1 for military veterans. And then that is our foundation, the Kevin and Margaret Hines Foundation, my wife and I hold. Now, if you want to really know how Margaret and I got together, it's very simple. Go to YouTube, go to the How I Met My Wife in a Psych Ward. Don't worry, she wasn't a patient. Of course I was. It's a great story. If you guys need my help, personally, you comment on that YouTube channel, I always respond to everyone. And guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for being open to this conversation. I will be here until the last person leaves. So if you want to talk to me personally, I'd love to. I just have to say something. Sir, what's your name right there in the camo jacket?
Jeffrey.
Jim?
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, I'm sorry. You're tripping me out here, man. You're uncanny resemblance of my brother Joseph. I'm sitting there like, is that Joseph? Did Joseph come all the way here? I'm just doesn't make sense. But I have to get a picture with you because they won't believe it. It's baffling my mind. Are you sure your name's not Joseph? Are you sure? Probably, all right, Jim. My mind is blowing, right now. So thank you guys so much.
We will take questions. So if you have questions, you're welcome to stay and ask. I don't know if this is even working. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I do want to make a point to let you guys know that there are resources, resource guides on the back table. CNO is making a commitment to associates that we are here for you. And if you need help, please come talk to me. Utilize the resources that we have available on site through our EAP program, through Life Health Online, through our health coaching program, through any of our well-being incentives. As associates, if you see something, say something to someone. So if you see somebody that's distraught, if they're emotional, if their habits are changing, please reach out to them. Let them know that you care. And Kevin's situation, that's all he needed. Don't hesitate to go up to someone and ask if they need help, okay? We've had situations at CNO where we've had individuals that have come forth asking for assistance. We are always here to talk to you. We are always here to help you. Seek me out, seek out your HR representative, talk to a coworker. So that is my message to all of you, okay? All right, thank you guys. Thank you.
Yes, Jeff, make sure you get a placard. I'm gonna get one too.
All right, that was CNO Financial. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. And guys, be here tomorrow and hit subscribe and click that bell.